Hey guys, Dendrite here. A lot of you on socials have been asking for tool tutorials and guides, so that's what this new series is going to be about. The OTR series is more casual, more low-key. Check that out too if you haven't, but this series is going to be more informative, breaking down specific tools and techniques. Today's tool is one of the more popular ones out there, specifically for fuzzing, and it's called FFUF. So fuzzing falls into the second stage of ethical hacking, and for anyone who doesn't know, penetration testing breaks down into 5 stages. The first is recon, footprinting, and information gathering. This is where you run lookups on your target, do DNS interrogation, and Google dorking. FFUF falls into the second stage, which is scanning. That stage covers fuzzing, but also port scans and network mapping. Quick rundown of the rest, since I will not cover these today. Third stage is gaining access, so this is where you run your exploits, SQL injection, CSRF, XSS, all that good stuff. Fourth is maintaining access once you're inside a system, sustaining control over it and staying undetected. On the Black Hat side, this is where rootkits, hidden accounts, and Trojans come in, but that's beyond the scope of this video. Fifth and final stage is covering your tracks, erasing evidence of your activity to test a company's incident response and forensics capabilities. That means modifying logs, altering registry values, uninstalling payloads, also beyond scope today. For this video, we're sticking to stage 2, so let's get into it. FFUF stands for Fuzz Faster You Fool. It's built to send high volumes of HTTP requests at a target to discover content, directories, endpoints, and files, anything live and reachable that isn't obvious from the outside. Now, TryHackMe has a great free room for this, and I'll link it in the video description. I go to CTFs and lab environments for demonstrations like this because they're pre-configured. The problem with a live target is unpredictability. You might just get a wall of 400s or 500s with no way to know why. So for teaching purposes, live targets aren't ideal. I'm running this in my Kali WSL2 instance, but use whatever you prefer, VMware, VirtualBox, bare metal install. I like WSL2 because it's lightweight. It doesn't need GUI unless you're using tools like Wireshark or similar tools that require a GUI. If this is your first time using FFUF, here are a few setup commands first. Update your system with sudo apt update, and then install FFUF with sudo apt install FFUF. You'll also need word lists, and there are plenty of them out there, but I will be using seclists for this demonstration. So run sudo apt install seclists. Now into the lab, you've got a lot of options here for this tool. We won't go through every single one, and this lab doesn't cover all of them either. But definitely come back to this after you finish, or set up your own lab to get comfortable with the full set of flags. You may not need all of them, and some of them you might never use depending on what kind of testing you're doing and what targets you're hunting. I'll make a directory for this specific room. I do that for every CTF I run through just to keep my machine organized, confirming I'm connected to the machine now. To start, we're given a pre-formatted command to run. Breaking it down, FFUF is the tool itself. The -u flag specifies our target URL. Fuzz marks the exact spot in the URL where we want to fuzz, and the -w flag specifies our word list. First question asks for the first file that returns a 200 HTTP status code, and I'll input that. Now we'll switch up word lists using the raft medium files lowercase txt word list. Update the command and run it again. The question asks for 2 file extensions on the page, and from the results we can see that's PHP and PHPS, and the size of the page as well, which we can also input. We've got a command snippet for question 4, so I'll run that. This gives us the number of directories returned, which I'll input. FFUF has a range of filters for narrowing results by status code. We'll use the -fc flag to filter out status code 403, and that's a forbidden response for a particular URL or directory. Now, there are tools and ways around that, but again, outside the scope of this video, another topic for another time. But that risks hiding real results along with the noise. So instead, we can write a regex that targets just a specific pattern. And if you don't know regex, if you don't know how to write regular expression, that's totally cool, because I don't either. But fortunately, we're in a day and age where you don't have to know it anymore, and you can just ask Claude, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, whatever to write it for you. Now, after applying the filter, we get 11 results, so I'll input that along with the result count after the MC filter as well. Worth noting, if we'd applied the filter incorrectly, it would have actually hidden a real file. In this case, a WP forum file that actually matters, and one that this lab actually asks us for. When you come across an endpoint, you're often not sure what parameters it accepts, so fuzzing those parameters can expose file inclusion, path disclosure, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, or command injection. So from this command that we're going to copy and paste in, we find the ID parameter, so I'll input that. For this next example, we're fuzzing with a sequence of numbers rather than a word list. You don't need to have a pre-built word list for something like numeric parameters, so you can generate a sequence with a one-liner in Bash or Ruby and pipe it straight into FFUF. Running that, we get back 200 responses for specific sets of ID values. FFUF can also be used to brute force login pages, sending large batches of password attempts, similar to what a tool like Hydra does, and I will be covering Hydra in a future video. Obviously, only do this on targets you are authorized to test. We get a positive result back for the password. Last use case, FFUF can also do subdomain enumeration and virtual host discovery using subdomain brute forcing. Quick distinction here, tools like Subfinder and Asset Finder use what is called passive reconnaissance. They check existing APIs, databases, and data sources for DNS records and SSL certificate data, basically surfacing what is already there. Brute forcing DNS, on the other hand, or vhost brute forcing, is active reconnaissance, generating real DNS requests to force a resolution. And fair warning, this is loud. Defenders can see this traffic, not always, but they can. Keep that in mind before you go brute forcing subdomains on a live target. That wraps up this module. Just a few questions left, which you can answer using FFUF's help menu. I won't walk through every one since we've uncovered the important parts already. But that is it for this video, everyone. I hope you found it useful. Like, comment, subscribe. Links in the description are for the free InfoSec roadmap and for HackVault, and I'll have another one of these videos coming very soon.